of my favorite hobbies is weightlifting, and in fact, I think it is my favorite hobby of all. So there's just something, like, aside from like the physical aspect, of course, but there's also like a mental aspect of weightlifting that just speaks to me in a very like powerful way. There's something different about hitting a heavy set squat or bench that just makes you feel so powerful, that just makes me have like a sense of self-confidence. And what this makes me feel is like, I know I can challenge myself, I know I can push my limits, and that helps me feel that I made myself better, and that helps me feel as a better person as well. So today I want to share with you 3 principles that are mainly used in weightlifting, but aren't restricted to the gym itself, and can also help you in achieving goals that you want to achieve in your life. So the first principle I want to talk about is the principle of progressive overload. Now, in the weight room, progressive overload means to increase the intensity of your workouts as you move through your training regimen. So what this means is you can either do this through increasing the weight, you can do this through making more sets, or having less rest time in between. There's a plethora of ways to increase the intensity of your workouts. But the main point of progressive overload is to make sure that your workouts are intense, to make sure that your workouts are challenging you, so you're not regressing or staying stagnant, so that you can actually have and implement your own growth. And research has shown that progressive overload is the most optimal way to build muscle. And I feel like this is very reflective on how you can also achieve your goals in life. So for instance, I believe that in life you have to progressive overload yourself in such a way that you challenge yourself and take a risk that you wouldn't be able to take in a normal stance. That this is why you're challenging yourself and stepping out of your comfort zone. And as you get over to see here that nothing was ever made great in a comfort zone. You have to step out if you want to make good goals for yourself. And the way that I like to challenge myself personally is that I like to take like harder classes, like maybe more AP courses. By doing this, I'm challenging myself to become a better person, develop more better skills that will help me in my future, like such as time management, critical thinking. And what this does is help me like push myself, push my limits, and I know what more I could achieve. If I've already breaking through the boundaries that I've already created for myself, I can create bigger and better new goals to achieve. Now the second principle that I believe is very important in weightlifting, but also applies outside of the weight room, is consistency. Now, consistency in the gym means, going to the gym, at a set number of times a day, and making sure that you stay consistent to your program. Everyone knows that, if it's your first time ever working out, you can't just walk into the gym, hit like a nice long 8-hour workout and expect to look like Arnold. That's not happening. But you can do this if you put in months, years, even decades of training. And that's the entire point of consistency. You have to stay consistent in your goals and constantly achieve them and pursue them in such a way. Now, even if it's just a little bit every single day, that'll go so much more farther than just doing, a little bit here and there or a lot here and there. But if you're doing it every single day, you're not only focused about your goal, but you're telling yourself that you're serious about it, that you're taking time out of your own day to pursue it. And this can only help you encourage more to help achieve your goals. And the thing about consistency is it very well aligns with the saying that Rome wasn't built in a day. If you ever want to build that business that you wanted to get to, but you never have it, you have to put in work every single day. It doesn't have to be, making like a crazy app or just doing like something huge. It's just doing some little parts that makes you eventually go step by step until you finally achieve that goal. And the final principle that I want to talk about is recovery. And this might seem a little counterintuitive to the point that I just said before about consistency, but bear with me here. Now, most people, when they're first introduced to weightlifting or just athletic training in general, they're surprised that when you're actually building muscle, not when you're in the gym, pumping iron, but when you're actually in your bed and you're sleeping and you're recovering. That is when the actual muscle building process happens, and that's what helps you help optimize your growth in the future as well. Now, what I believe in life, the equivalent of recovery is to take maybe a day, if you've been working on a goal for like 2 months and, you kind of lose encouragement, you're getting burnt out, you're wondering like, why am I doing this anymore? Like recently, this has happened to me before, like last week, I was working on my homework, I was wondering like, why am I even doing this physics homework anymore? I don't get it. But like, I had to take a moment to refocus on why am I doing this? And this is why I believe that refocusing yourself and taking like, a short period of time just to make sure that, you understand your intentions on why you're doing the things you're doing is very important. Now, when I look back at like, if I'm achieving a goal, if I look back at how far I've come, I know that I started over here and now I'm over here. And this is all because I've been putting in this work, and that encourages me to keep moving forward with it and continue on with achieving my goal. Now, this part of recovery is to help self-reflect and help refocus you back on your goal, but also helps you encourage yourself to continue moving forward because you know that you've already beaten out your potential, so who knows how much more you can achieve. So, to wrap up, weightlifting has impacted my life in such a massive way that it hasn't only helped me live my life in the weight room, but also live my life in general, like through school, my personal relationships, and almost every aspect of my life. Now, I urge members of the crowd to, when they go back home or when they wake up tomorrow morning, is to find that one goal that you've always wanted to achieve, but that you haven't been able to get to yet. Maybe it was building a business, or maybe it was, even going to the gym that you've never even got to. But make it a goal that's going to help you challenge yourself and step out of your comfort zone. Something that you've been hesitant to do, but now you're sure that, I really want to focus in on this, it will make me a better person. And that's what I urge you to go and focus yourself on. And every single day, I want you to put in just a little bit of work. Just moving yourself towards achieving that goal. Just a little bit of work every day. It doesn't need to be anything massive. Just, keep pushing yourself, stay consistent with it, because that is the only way that, you can achieve real results. And finally, if you ever feel yourself getting burnt out, let's say you start opening a business, and, you're 2 months in, and you've only made one sale, you're wondering, why am I doing this anymore? Is this even worth it for me? But you realize that 2 months ago, you didn't even have a sale. Now you have one sale, and that can encourage you to keep on moving forward and going. This self-reflection is very important. But in order to achieve this and getting, to the goal of building a huge corporation, building that dream body, whatever you want to achieve, it first starts by you taking that first risk and taking that first step into making the challenge. You first have to go from 0 to 1, and after that, you can go from 1 to infinity and become limitless. Thank you.